guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I never record on YouTube, so you're probably from my TikTok or my Instagram. If you're not though, let me know, because okay, explore page. But today we're here to talk about something I get in my DMs literally all the time, and it's whether or not you should go to postgraduate school for music. A lot of people, rightfully so, are on the fence about whether or not it's the right investment for them. And I personally think for a lot of people, it's a great decision to further their career in music, and it really does benefit them. On other hands, I think that it's not always the best decision and might actually even hold you back a bit. So let's talk about it. Let's break it down, and maybe this can help guide you into whether or not going to music grad school is right for you. So the first thing that I want to point out is the main pros to going to grad school as a musician. Working with someone brand new, right? Making new connections, you're in a new community, you're talking to new musicians, you're working with a new professor. For a lot of people, they step into TA positions and they get a lot of teaching experience, and that can be great. The main thing that a lot of people find a con to, and I personally also see, the degree within itself doesn't get you a job. And whenever it comes to getting a performance position somewhere like an orchestra or an army band, having an MM or a DMA doesn't equate to anything. You literally just have to perform the best that day, and you have to have favor in the eyes of the person giving the audition or the panel. It feels counterproductive sometimes going and spending all this money and time in a degree that doesn't necessarily always pay out the way that a lot of people expect it to. Another big con to this as well is that for a big bulk of programs, it can be very time consuming for people to get involved in, just because being a part of ensembles, going to concerts, all of that, all of the requirements take up a lot of time out of one's week, and it can take up time from actually building a career and building a portfolio and getting gigs that people want. Like, a lot of people want to build a huge resume and really get in the gigging scene. I've heard that a lot of people don't have time to do that, or they don't have time to teach and start building the studio that they want to build. And it can get in the way of actually starting your career based on what program you're at, based on what you're doing. It varies school to school, but that is another very large con whenever it comes to going to music grad school. And then there is the gray area, I'll call it, which is a lot of people kind of getting worried about whether or not they don't even know where they're going, kind of. And I don't want to say that in a way that's bad, because the reality is, please don't feel bad if you're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea where my life is going. I don't know what to do. I have this performance degree, but I can't win an audition. I can't do this. I can't do that. I have no idea how to build a set. That's because these schools don't teach us that, and they don't give us a structure for the most part. And a lot of this has been changing recently. I will point that out. A lot of schools have been doing very good at educating people how to have a stability and a career beyond just winning a job or winning an audition. But a lot of programs still do teach just how to audition. That's how I was taught in undergrad. I was only taught how to audition, and that was it. You just audition, excerpt. You're not taught the skills to actually build a portfolio, how to get in the gigging scene, how to build connections that are worthwhile and very important so that you can live and you can thrive as a musician. And I think that's where the gray line occurs, because there is that question of, is this worth it? Again, I don't think it's something that anyone should feel guilty over. However, I think that it is something that as a community, we can work towards not having this be as criminal of a problem, because we are seeing people hit 27 to 30, which is when most people finish doctorate degrees, and they have no experience in the workforce, not even teaching experience, and they can't land the performance job they're looking for. People aren't getting jobs until late 30s, 40s, if even, and people either have to leave the industry or go do something else, or worse, they can't figure it out. And it's just a common cycle that is very toxic and really kicks up during the graduate year, so it's something to be incredibly, incredibly mindful of. I think having a pool of goals whenever you go into graduate school is the most important thing, so that what you're doing is working towards that stable career that you do want. And it's going to look different for everyone, of course, but for some people, if they really do want that end goal to be a performance job, right? Realistically, opening a studio and building that, or having a really, really robust gigging schedule, doing that and growing that while they're in school and dedicating that time, finding that balance to do both, like as you're in school and getting better at your instrument, but also spending time and working and networking and growing that side career so that by the time you graduate, after 2 to 5 years of graduate school, you have a stable career. And that is something that is so, so, so incredibly important. I think because we're not taught how to do anything other than, there's the main two pathways of being a musician in school. It's usually you go perform in an orchestra or you go and be an ed teacher. And for a lot of people, there's that gray area. For me personally, I knew that my heart wasn't fully even in the orchestra, even though I had teachers and people saying, oh my gosh, you have blah, blah, blah potential. And for me, and honestly why I switched my major halfway through my performance master's degree, is that it came down to the fact that I would rather run the orchestra than be in it, right? So I just completely fell in love with the business side and realized I liked that a little bit more than performing oboe. As soon as I personally made that change and that route for myself, my mental health went up. I think for myself and for some other people, when you put most of your value into how you do in your career as a musician, whenever you put that monetary value of, okay, do you have a stable career in music, right? Whenever you put that over your head, you can have a very, very toxic relationship with being a musician and with your instrument and with music. And it can lead to some really awful mindsets, just really negative thinking. I'm in graduate school, I'm around a lot of people, and it's stuff that I personally hear every day. Also, on the flip side of things, I've seen people go to grad school and come out right away with a stable performance job, a stable career, a stable whatever. They had something in mind and they got it. I will say performance jobs right now are very lucrative. I think I've mentioned this a few times on my pages, but as of right now, there are 20 full-time orchestra jobs in the country that pay $50K and up. Everything else is going to be below the $50K margin. I know that money doesn't mean everything to people, but a lot of people don't know that. There's a lot of misinformation and miseducation about how many orchestra jobs are even available right now. That's something to keep in mind. Whenever it comes to academia and careers, I also wanted to point out that there are amazing people out there, right? Amazing people that are just made to be teachers. They love it, they know they want to do it, and they go for it, right? They love to teach and they have a gift in it. That's incredible. What I think I am seeing recently too is that a lot of people think that teaching is the only other avenue and their heart is not actually there. So by the time they graduate with a DMA usually or end up switching to ed, they don't actually have their heart in it as much as some other people do, and they aren't necessarily fit to be teachers. Either end up leaving the job, end up getting fired from the job, or are bitter. I've seen it so many times. I personally think that it's good to stay away from that. If you really don't want to be in academia, don't be in academia. There are other options. Having the right resources at your college to help you find that option is so important, which is another thing. I think whenever it comes to being a performance major, or even if you're like a composition major trying to grow yourself and figure out how to sell your music, find other things to do, because I think everyone should work towards their dream job. I never would say not do it, but I think it's also fantastic to have something on the side that you're doing to either work up to that or, have that thing full time. And whether that's teaching lessons, making reads if you're an oboe player, anything, right? We also have the internet. Personally, I, as an internet creator and as a TikTok musician and everything, I don't think I've made as amazing connections as I have on the internet. I've definitely made some great ones at school, but the internet's right in front of you, and I think that you can find amazing people. Musicians love to talk. I think if you reached out to people and asked for, help or advice, as a community, we are all in this together, so having that internet resource is fantastic. So that's where I get into whether or not grad school is the right decision, right? All in all, don't go to grad school if the only answer in your head is, I don't know what I'm doing next in my career, I'm just going to go back to school. Yes, it will give you temporary stability. Yes, it will give you temporary schedules. I would ask yourself, do I know what I'm doing with this, right? Whether it's the experience or if your degree actually will help you earn something. If you are in the mindset of, okay, I don't know what I'm doing next in my career, I'm just going to go to grad school, don't go to grad school. If you have that mindset, just take a gap year and spend that gap year talking to people and understanding like really what you want for yourself in your future. And if it takes some more time, there is absolutely no shame in that. But I think taking a gap year rather than going into school when you don't know really what you want to do and what comes next is super important. I think another really big thing too is that at the end of the day, the school that you go to does play some role in merit, but at the end of the day, the most qualified person is going to get the job. The hustler is going to have the stable career. At the end of the day, if it makes more sense to study separately from a school with a professor or a teacher from an orchestra, right? Spending that time either side hustling, getting a separate job at the time, or saving up money, and really spending that time on building your portfolio, getting that performance experience, performing with live orchestras, doing all of that, right? Getting clients, getting commissions, whatever that means for you, if that can happen without going and enrolling yourself into a 3 to 5 year graduate school situation, do that. There is no shame in it. I recently switched from performance to an MBA in music business. I can definitely get into on a separate video all my reasons why. It's very like niche, so I don't even think that it's, a huge deal if I say it here. But one of the main reasons in my head was, oh my gosh, if I don't make this switch, right, I will always think about what if. And I kept saying in my head too, oh, I wish I just did this. I wish I just trusted myself that what I wanted for myself was correct because it was what was going to make me happy and not what other people were saying to me and what I thought I had to prove to other people. Once I knew within myself that going to major in music business was not only going to make me happy, I knew I had to make the switch. So if you keep asking yourself, is going to grad school going to help my future? Is going to grad school going to help me pursue the life that I want? If the answer is no, that's okay. Go pursue the life that you want while you have the freedom and no time commitment to a graduate program. I think with the points given, it can help you hopefully think a little bit more clearly about what is the right choice. At the end of the day, I really think that following your gut and following your intuition is the best. And if your gut is telling you that going to grad school is going to help you excel, go for it. If your gut is telling you, you know what, I need a break, I need to figure it out, or, you know what, I can do all this without a grad degree, and I'm gonna do it. Heck yeah, go do it. I hope this chat was helpful. I get this question all the time, so I thought I should just come on here and kind of like chat with you guys for a bit. I also could totally make a video about majoring in undergrad as a musician. The only reason I didn't mesh them together this time around was because they're just very different. So if you do want a video about undergrad and majoring in performance or any music major, honestly, I can make a video about that. I would love to. I would honestly love to come back with another YouTube video. I have some other ideas in mind, so hopefully see you guys soon, and yeah, bye!